Good morning, everybody. Nobody up front again today. Is that what it is? That's the camera seat? Okay. Good morning. Good morning. How are you all? Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Nina. That's what I needed. All right. There's plenty of seating right up front if you want to come up front. The back always fills. What is up with that? So, welcome. How are you all doing today? Good. Everybody looks like they're in a good mood today. Yeah. What is that about? Because the sun's coming up. You what? You got a great bill of health yesterday. Absolutely. Let's celebrate that, right? Excellent. Excellent. All right. So let's start with a little breathing this morning. If you want to come right up to the front edge of your chair and try and get your feet right underneath your knees. And if you can, if you've got shoes on, that's okay, but if you can, lift up your toes and then spread them out a little bit and then put them down. So just give your toes a little bit of space. That's a little harder to do in your shoes, but do the best you can with that. And then notice where your shoulders are in relationship to your hips. Are you leaning forward? Are you kind of like this? Can you bring your shoulders so that they're right above your hips? And then notice if your neck is a little stiff, like if you're trying to get yourself in that position. So relax your neck. Imagine your head is kind of like a water balloon just kind of sitting on top of your shoulders. So there's just this kind of looseness in the neck and shoulders. And then notice your breath. So as you're taking in all this instruction and trying to make these little micro changes, notice if your breath has gotten very shallow or maybe you've been holding your breath a little bit. So just watch the air as it's moving in and out. If you can, breathe in and out through your nose. If it's difficult to breathe in and out through your nose, you can take air in through your nose and breathe out through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. So when you blow out through pursed lips, what is actually happening is you're getting a little more carbon dioxide out of your lungs. So you're emptying your lungs a little bit better, and that makes it easier to take a full deep breath. So that's why people with breathing issues are often coached to breathe in that fashion. Breathing in through your nose is super important because that filters the air as it comes in. You have little cilia, little hairs inside your nostrils, and that filters the air so it warms it to the right temperature or cools it to the right temperature. It filters out all the stuff that's floating around in here. And it also stimulates a little thing in your brain too. When you're breathing in and out through your nose, that's a symbol that that's an indication to your brain that you can relax a little bit. So it helps take your nervous system and bring it down a couple of notches. So now that you have all this data and all this information about breathing, let's just kind of forget all of that. Close your eyes and just watch your breath. So breathing in and out, if you can, again, breathe in and out through your nose. If that's difficult for you, breathe in through your nose if you can, and breathe out through pursed lips like you're slowly blowing out a candle. Not really forcefully, but really slowly blowing out the candle. And as you're watching your breath, notice where your body expands and contracts with every breath in and out. So can you feel movement in your rib cage, in your belly, in your chest? Perhaps you feel some movement in your shoulders or your back. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you're aware of, what you can notice. And as you're watching your body expand and contract, as you're watching the breath move in and move out, notice your thoughts this morning. So you might notice that you have a lot of different thoughts moving through your mind, or maybe you just have one or two. And notice the quality of your thoughts. So by that I mean, are your thoughts kind of dark, negative, or are they a little bit lighter, a little bit more positive? Or perhaps they're more neutral. It's estimated that somewhere between 80 and 90% of our thoughts are kind of minutia, and a lot of them are neutral in nature. So they're just kind of, they're not very exciting one way or another. So we're going to add a little bit of a count to the breathing this morning. So let's just start with a very simple 4 and 4. So as you breathe in, slowly count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you breathe out, again, slowly count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. And continue breathing in and out with a slow count of 4. You can repeat that in your mind, nice and slow. And it may take several breaths to coordinate the inhalation and the exhalation so that they're at this slow count of 4. And if you find yourself tensing up as you're trying to count and breathe and notice all at the same time, see if you can relax your face, relax your neck and jaw, your hands, your feet, your back. Just breathing into 4 and out to 4. And see if you can continue to breathe into that slow count of 4 and breathe out to a slow count of 6. We're going to add 2 to that. So breathing in to 4 and out to 6. And again, this may take a few breaths to coordinate that new count of 6 on the exhalations. And if you find yourself tensing up, see if you can release the tension wherever that is, your neck, your shoulders, your face, your hands or feet, your back, whatever part of your body starts to tense up. Breathing into 4 and out to 6 has a different kind of effect on the nervous system. It actually slows things down a little bit more in the nervous system. It can affect your heart rate, your blood pressure in a good way. This is a great practice. This 4 and 6 breathing is a great practice to do if you have something coming up that's a little stressful, perhaps an appointment or an interaction with somebody that you're not looking forward to. And as you continue to breathe into 4, we're going to see if we can increase that exhalation to 7. So we're going to go from 6 to 7 on the exhalation. So breathing into 4 and out to 7. And again, this can take a little bit of time. It might take a few breaths. So we're just, pardon me, just recalibrating how full the lungs can get and how empty the lungs can get. And again, this is a wonderful breathing practice to do in advance of something that is going to be a little bit stressful or that you're anticipating is going to be a little bit stressful. And it's helpful if you're in that stressful situation. And then let's just see if we can increase that exhale just by one more. So we're going to breathe in to 4 and out to 8, which is quite a bit. And again, this may take more than just a few breaths. This may take practice over many different sessions with your breathing to be able to breathe into a slow count of 4 and out to a slow count of 8 without feeling like you're losing your breath. The longer and slower you can make your exhalations, the more calming effect that's going to have on your nervous system. The more beneficial effect that's going to have on your heart rate and your blood pressure. When you get to the end of your next exhalation, when you've exhaled to a count of whatever it is, 6, 7, 8, whatever that is, let go of the counting and go back to your natural breath. So just release all this control that you're trying to exert over your breath. Allow your breathing to return to normal, moving in and out through your nose if possible, or in through your nose and out through pursed lips. And you can let your eyes gently open. So that 2-to-1 breathing, that 4 in and 8 out, that's another way to practice this is at night. Anybody has an issue, like I'm a 2:30 in the morning kind of waker, right? Because I have to go to the bathroom, and then I have a hard time falling back to sleep. And so this is a good breathing practice to do to kind of help you get back to sleep. Part of it is because, for me anyway, at 2:30, I think I'm going to get right back into bed and go back to sleep, but then my mind starts racing, right? It's like the mind is awake. So one of the things that this does, and I mentioned this while we were doing the breathing practice, is it calms your nervous system. So it works on something called your vagus nerve, which goes from your brain to all different parts of your body, and it sort of brings it actually increases your vagal tone, which decreases your stress level. The other thing it does, and I think this is as important, when you're counting, you have to think about it. So it gives your brain something else to do besides perseverating on the thing that's going to keep you up at 2:30 in the morning. So it's just a little strategy, just a little trick you can use to kind of help in that case. Okay, so the last couple of weeks we've been working on some neck mobility, and I just wanted to check in and see how that's landing for everybody. Is anybody doing that? Yeah? Are you finding it helpful on a regular basis? Yeah? So it seems like not a lot what we're doing, but when you can do these movements over a period of time, we're reconditioning everything here, because this is our posture. I talk about this all the time. This is our posture, right? I'm driving the car. Here I am. I'm driving the car. I'm watching TV. I'm just my oops. My shoulders are forward, right? My back is kind of rounded. And if I just let my neck be an extension of my spine, I'm going to be looking at the ground. So I can't do that. So I do this. So the back of my neck gets tight. The front of my neck gets just sort of contracted in this lengthened position. And then when I go to turn my head, I need to look behind me, or I need to, I'm driving the car, I need to look over here, I need to look over there. I don't have that range of movement available anymore. So these are some movements we can do. Again, if you do them regularly, like every day, it can actually change your ability to turn your head in different directions. So the first thing we're going to do is just a simple side to side. So I'm just going to ask you to sit up nice and tall, relax your shoulders. And again, just thinking about your head sort of like a water balloon, right? So if you tend to have your neck really tense and tight, let go of the tension in your jaw. Let the upper teeth and lower teeth create a little bit of space in there. And we're just going to turn the head from left to right really slowly. Now, if you tend to get a little dizzy, a little lightheaded when you do this, you can go a little bit slower. Make sure you're breathing. That's the other thing we tend to do when we're making movements that maybe challenge us a little bit, is we tend to hold the breath or we breathe kind of shallowly. So the next time that you turn your head to the right, I'm just going to ask you to hold there for a full breath in and out. And then you can turn to the left and same thing. And when I say full breath, I want you to breathe in as deeply as you can and breathe out as deeply as you can. And we'll go to the other side. So we're just moving to one side, holding for a really full breath in so you feel your chest and your shoulders expand and then contract. And then moving to the other side, same thing, feeling the chest and the shoulders expand and then contract. And one more time on each side. So just kind of holding here, breathing in, breathing out. And going to that second side. And then coming back to center. So that's simply turning the head from side to side. Your cervical spine, that's your neck, between the bottom, the base of your skull, and the top of your shoulders, that's your cervical spine. And that's one of the most mobile parts of your spine. So the next thing we're going to do is take the hands right up to where your collarbones are. Find your collarbones here. And then you're going to place one hand kind of right in the middle of kind of where that notch is and below the collarbones a bit. Take your other hand and place it there too. And then push in a little bit and pull down a little bit. So you feel just a little bit of a stretch here. And now we're going to take the chin and tuck it right into where your hands are. And then lift your chin up. And you should feel a little pull. So we're going to go down and up with the head. So it's like a yes movement with your head. So if you tend to be a little tight in the neck, as you're holding here and lifting, you should feel a really gentle pull somewhere between your hands, and it could even be like your chin or your lower lip. You could even feel this up into your face a little bit as well. So breathing in and breathing out. You don't have to push too hard with your hands, and you definitely don't need to lift your head up too high. Great. How about two more of these, down and up, or up and down, if that's where you like to be. And once you've completed your second of those movements, you can just bring your head back to center. Keep your hands here. And we're going to take the right ear and lift the right ear up toward the ceiling, and then down. And lift the left ear up toward the ceiling, and down. And we're just going to go from side to side. So again, hopefully you're feeling a little bit more of a stretch in through the neck itself. When we do this without the hands on the body, we can tend to recruit some other muscles in there, some shoulder muscles, and we get a different feeling in the body. We're not as specific with the stretch that we're doing here. So just a couple more, and think about lifting the ear toward the ceiling as opposed to trying to get the opposite ear on the shoulder. Again, that's a different feeling as well. So just a couple more. Great. How about one more on each side? I know that's like 50, right, at this point? Okay, and then relax your hands. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in, breathe out, and notice what you feel in your neck, your shoulders, your face. And let your eyes open. So the next movement we're going to do is a forward and backward movement with the head. I like to think of this like a pigeon movement. You know how when a pigeon walks, they bob their head forward a little bit? So that's what we're going to do, but try not to lift the chin up. We're just going to try and bring the chin forward and back. If you think about just this forward and back movement. And it's a little bit weird because we don't generally move our heads in this fashion. So think about bringing your chin forward, and we're usually pretty good at that. And then bring it back like you could tuck it right into this little notch between your collarbones, and forward and back. So breathe in and breathe out. And if you'd like, close your eyes and see if you can picture a pigeon. right? So sometimes, for some of us, those of us who are really visual, I happen to be a really visual learner. So if you tell me something, I am likely going to forget it in about 30 seconds. If you show me something, I'm not going to forget it. So when I visualize a pigeon, I get this image in my head, and that helps my body to kind of respond to this movement. How about one more pigeon forward and back? And then relax your neck and shoulders. Take a breath in, let it out with a sigh. Okay. So the next movement we're going to do is that same gliding kind of movement forward and back. We're going to do that side to side. This one's a little harder to do as well. So we're just going to take the left ear as far to the left as we can, and then the right. And we're going to try and do this without moving the body, right? So this is what I want to do. I really want to do this because that feels so much better than this, which feels like I'm not moving my head at all. But we're getting a little side to side. So if you can, imagine your head is gliding to the right and gliding to the left, right? Gliding to the right and gliding to the left. Now, most of us don't have a whole lot of movement in this particular direction. So it's more or less a micro movement for most of us in the neck. There are some people who have incredible flexibility in their neck muscles and can actually do this, and you can see their heads kind of going side to side. They usually end up on America's Talent there, whatever that show is, right? They do those crazy things. But for us mere mortals, this is mostly a micro movement. And then back to center. Whew. Let's roll the shoulders a little bit because that can make the shoulders feel a little bit tense trying to do that. And then our last movement that we're going to do, I'm going to ask you to take your hands up and find where your neck and your shoulders meet. There's usually some pretty good tension in those muscles right there. Can you all feel that? For how many of you is this tender or painful or uncomfortable? Yeah, me too. Right. That's very sore. So I'm just going to take my hands, make like a little cup thing here, and then just really gently let my arms get heavy. So I'm kind of pulling down a little bit. Okay, so with the arms here, there's no tension in my arms. I'm just kind of letting my arms be heavy. We're going to drop the chin down to the chest like you could tuck that chin into the notch between your collarbones. And then we're just going to bring the right ear toward the right hand, and then come back through center and go to the left. So it's a mini roll. Right? Y'all got that? So just a little mini roll here from side to side. And don't go any farther than your hand. So in other words, you don't want to roll your head all the way around. You just want to do this very mini roll. And it's the weight of your arms that's creating a little bit of downward tension on those muscles in the tops of the shoulders. And they can really use this. So make sure you're breathing in and breathing out, nice, long, slow, deep inhalations and long exhalations. But not enough that you're creating tension in your body. Just a couple more. Good. And then when you come back to center, hang here for a moment. And then lift your head up, release your hands, let them come down to your lap. Let's roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down a few times. So we've just done quite a bit of work for the neck and the shoulders. And we're going to expand that a little bit. So take your arms up in front, and then we're going to bring the arms back, pull back with your elbows, push forward, just pull back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathing in, breathing out. Now, as you pull back, resist the urge to bring your head forward like a little pigeon, that little pigeon movement, right? So we just want to keep the head nice and level. This is all about the shoulders and the arms, and especially that space between the shoulder blades. Got a couple of muscles back there. More than a couple, but a couple in particular that tend to get a little bit tight. And they get tight because, again, we have that kind of rounded upper back position. Okay, next time the arms are forward, you're going to hold here. Relax your jaw, relax your neck. And now we're going to take just the right hand, and we're going to pull the right hand back and push forward with the left hand. Right? So push out through the heel of the left hand and pull back with that right hand. Breathe, and then we're going to switch. right? So push forward. It's like you're saying stop. It's like it's football season, right? Isn't this what they do? Right? That's the, I don't remember what trophy that is. Right? Heinzman? Is it the Heinzman trophy where they're doing this? I don't know. I'm not real good with that. So we're just going forward and back, and now you're pushing as hard as you can. You're extending that arm and you're pulling back as hard as you can. Right? So breathe in and breathe out. Try not to hold your breath. And if you'd like, if this feels okay, the next time that you push one hand forward, twist your body a little to the other side. So now we got a little bit of a twist here. If that creates some lightheadedness or dizziness, I'm going to ask you to just keep your head facing forward and twist the rest of your body. That looks great, you guys. How about just a couple more? Okay, great. And then we can let that go. Let's shake out the arms a little bit and the hands. Roll the shoulders. Good. We're going to do a little bit more shoulder work. So breathing involves so many different muscles in your body. We don't often think about extending the arms as being a way to help facilitate breathing. But if my arms are always down by my sides, the muscles here in the side of my body, under my arms, between my ribs, they're going to stay short. So when I try and take a deep breath, I'm not going to be able to get as full breath as if I had the ability to raise my arm all the way up overhead and create more space in there. So let's take the right arm, and we're just going to start by circling the right arm up and around. Now do the best you can. If you're working with a limitation because of your shoulder, your neck, or your back, or anything here, and your arm doesn't go up that high, go out to the side. That's absolutely fine. So the bigger you can make your movement, the more range you've got. Now, as you bring it up, reach up a little bit as if you could pull your bum right up off the chair, right? So as if you could pull that right cheek right up off the chair. Breathing in, breathing out. Excellent. The next time that your arm is down toward the floor, we're going to pause here and then reverse direction. And we make that switch when the arm is down because your shoulder is in a much more stable position to make that switch. If you were to make that switch with the arm really extended up overhead, there's some exposure there to the little tendons that could create a problem. Good. All right, one more circle. Great. And then let's bring that hand to the lap and we'll start with the other side. So left arm, same thing. Just see what you can do here. Again, if you're working with some limitation, just honor that. So the most important thing is to pay attention to your body. What does your body need right now? What is it capable of? And the places where you don't have that ability, I don't like to think of those as limitations as much as they are opportunities, right? So there's a possibility for more improvement there. The next time your arm is down by your side, then we're going to switch direction. So again, just making sure I get my arm and my shoulder in that most stable position before making the switch. That's really important to maintaining good shoulder health. Good. How about just a couple more? And really lift, like you could lift that left cheek up off the chair. Good. Excellent. And then all the way down. Great. So notice your shoulders. Hopefully they're a little bit more awake right now, right? They might feel heavier, they might feel lighter, they might feel more open. So now we're going to do something called a syncopated rhythm with the arms. So we're going to take that right arm and sweep it up and forward. And then as we're doing that, let's take the other arm. And we're doing this, it's like swimming, right? This is the English crawl, is that right? Yeah, yeah. So a little bit of swimming, you can twist your body if you'd like. Yep, so as if you were doing that. Great. And then at some point we're going to switch to the back stroke, right? So the arm that was going forward is now going back, right? Everybody got that? Oh yeah, you all look like you're swimming out there. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, couple more. All right. And then we're going to let the arms come down. Whew. How are we doing? Anybody else getting really warm? Yeah, it's getting nice and warm now. Okay, so we did a syncopated rhythm where we had one arm going forward and the other arm kind of following it a half step behind. We're going to see if we can do something where we mix it up a little bit with the brain, right? This is what I'll call treading water, right? So let's take the right arm and go forward. Breathe in, breathe out. You know where this is going. You all know where this is going. All right. We're going to take the left arm while the right arm continues to go forward. So bring that part of your brain over there, right? We're going to take the left arm and go backward at the same time that the right arm is going forward. Oh, God. That's right. You said it. Now, if you're doing this, that's the syncopated rhythm. That's not what we're doing. We're doing this. It should feel really weird, right? And I'm sure you're holding your breath, right? Okay, let your arms come down. Whew. Wow, that was a workout for your brain and your body, right? And we're not done. So take your left arm now and go forward, because your left arm was going backward last time, right? So here we go, left arm forward. Just think about that. Left arm forward, left arm forward. Breathe in, breathe out. As you kind of put the brain over on that left side, okay, this part of my brain is handling that, take your right arm and go backwards. Oh, this side is so much easier, right? Oh, this side is so much harder, isn't it? Yes. Your right arm keeps going backward? Or your left arm? Right? Remember, if you're doing this, that's a syncopated rhythm. That's not what we're doing. Right? If you're totally confused, you're in good company. And let that go. Whew. Oh my gosh. All right. So the brain has a way of functioning. It likes to be sort of on autopilot, right? So anything I can just do without thinking too much, the neural pathway is really strong. Especially if, say I was a swimmer. Say, I did a lot of swimming as a kid. The strokes, that's so easy because that neural pathway is there. This is not easy because how many times in your life have you had to do that besides this class? Right? Yeah, we don't do those things. So it's good to challenge yourself in that way. Physically, it moves our body in similar patterns, but mentally, it gives us the opportunity to create a new neural pathway, a new way of doing something. So if let's say I have a shoulder issue, and the issue is because I constantly do something in a certain way, right? There's a pattern there that's going to be hard for me to break out of unless I create some sort of a big event in the mind that says, yeah, I know you know how to do this, brain, because we do this all the time, but we're doing something totally different, so wake up and pay attention. An exercise I often challenge you to do is something that you do all the time, like opening your front door. You get your keys, you put it in, you turn it, you press the handle, and you go in. Do it with the other hand, and notice that it's going to be probably going to be very confusing about which way to turn that lock, right? I don't know which way with my left hand because my right hand does it all the time. So it's just different ways to kind of challenge yourself. All right, so let's do something else again. We're going to work with the brain a little bit more this morning. So I'm just going to ask you to take your hands and extend your fingers really wide, and then we're going to squeeze and extend. Squeeze and extend. Do the best you can. I know fingers can be a little cranky, especially when the weather is humid like this. Some folks have the kind of arthritis that doesn't like this kind of weather too much. Other folks like this kind of weather and don't like the cold. That makes the arthritis kick in a little bit more. Okay, just a couple more of these. Good. And then shake that out a little bit. Okay. So take your hands. We're going to take the thumbs and the first fingers, right? So this is finger one, right? Your pointer finger. So thumbs and first fingers go together, right? Relax your shoulders, relax your neck. Okay. And then we're going to go thumb and second finger, and thumb and third finger, and thumb and fourth finger. Go back to 3 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Right? Got that? Easy. Yeah. You want to do that one more time? Just one more time. We'll do that one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Got that? Okay. Right hand, first finger and thumb. Left hand, last finger and thumb. Yeah? So you got 1 on the right, 4 on the left. Yeah? 2 on the right, 3 on the left. 3 on the right, 2 on the left, 4 on the right, 1 on the left. I'm waiting for my person who said, got that. Got that? Okay. Okay. 3 on the right, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 3 on the left, 1 on the 4 on the left, 2 on the right, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, 2 on the left, 4 on the right, 1 on the left, 3 right, 2 left, 2 right, 3 left, 1 right, 4 left. Okay. Did you land where we began? Are your fingers like this? Very confusing, right? Yeah. So how many of you had a difficult time with that second one? Yeah. Yay. Give yourself a round of applause. Yay. Absolutely. So let's try this with just a different mental perspective, okay? Right hand, first finger and thumb. Left hand, fourth finger and thumb. Now bring your hands like in front of you with the palms facing up, so you can kind of see them both, right? So now forget about the finger count. I just want you to take your thumbs, both thumbs, right thumb and left thumb, and move your thumbs 1 digit to the left. Move your thumbs 1 more digit to the left, and 1 more digit to the left. Got that? So move your thumbs 1 digit to the right. 1 digit to the right, 1 digit to the right. Let's do that again. So we're starting with the right hand, thumb and first finger, left hand, thumb and fourth finger. Forget the numbered fingers. Let's go right back to the thumb. 1 digit to the left, 1 digit to the left, 1 digit to the left, 1 digit to the right, 1 digit to the right, 1 digit to the right. Good. Shake that out. How many of you thought that was easier? Yeah. It was the same movement though, right? It was the same movement, just a different mental perspective on that. So same physical movement. So the reason I love these kinds of things is because it gives us insight into where our limitations actually come from. Is it because my body can't do something, or is it because my mind tells me that my body can't do that? Right? So oftentimes it's just that kind of limitation in our mental processes. Yes, when they're right here. Yes, me too. Yep.
But that's probably normal too. It's like I'm doing this class with Steve, the brain health, and here's this picture. I need to see if I can take a picture and show that how we are born with the oversensitivity in our feet, our hands, our mouth, and everything else.
Yes.
It's much smaller, and it's
Yeah.
what it reminds me of.
Yeah. Oh, good. Good. So it's reinforcing something you're learning.
This whole principle that's
Excellent.
losing that with age, we need to just get back into that.
Yeah, it's not because we're getting old. It's because we have these certain patterns, like my brain just works automatically in this way. And let's face it, I'm just too tired to think about it any more than that, right? So this just says, you know what? Let's wake up the brain because we can learn new things. We can change and repattern. And it wasn't that long ago, you guys, when science and medicine said, oh, the brain, you're born with a certain number of brain cells. Anybody remember this? Because it's a myth. You're born with a certain number of brain cells, and you don't get new brain cells, but you actually lose them over time. That's just not true. Your brain is not different than every other cell in your body. You can develop new brain cells, and you don't necessarily lose them like that. So that's the good thing about where we are with our science right now. So let's move down to the feet. We're going to continue doing a little bit of brain work here because I like doing these kinds of things because it challenges us to be a little bit different. Are you laughing at me or with me? I don't care either way, that's fine. Okay, I'll keep moving. So let's extend the right leg and have your heel on the floor. And then we're going to squeeze and extend the toes. So just like we did in the beginning with the hands, right? Sort of the squeezing and extending. If you're in shoes, that's fine. Just do the best you can in your shoes. If you're in socks that are a little limiting, just know that. This is a great thing to do when you're home sitting watching TV or something like that and you have your shoes off. The weather's still nice enough to not have to wear 6 layers of socks. And then we're going to start to point and flex the foot. So see if you can tap your heel and then your toe. If this is a lot for your leg or your hip, you can always just slide your foot on the floor too. So this is available to you for whatever you've got. And then we'll circle at the ankle, right? Ooh, listen to that noise out there. I hear some crackling and yeah. And reverse direction. And make sure you're breathing smoothly and evenly. Not just enough to stay alive, but a little bit more than that. Okay, and then bring your heel down to the floor. I'm going to rotate the whole leg in and out. So bring your toes way over to the right and way over to the left. And make sure the movement is happening up here, you guys, up here in your hip. Right? So if you take your hand and you place it up here where your hip is, you should feel a little bit of movement under there. That is your femur. So your leg bone, the big leg bone in the top part of your leg, that's called your femur, and that goes up into your hip. So what you're feeling is your femur rotating in your hip socket a little bit here. Okay, next time your foot is straight up toward the ceiling, I'm going to ask you to keep it there. And now take your hands alongside your body. Bring your hands right next to your hips. Sit up nice and tall so we have shoulders above hips, but try not to be like in this really rigid position. You want to be a little more relaxed. Pull your belly in slightly, and then we're going to bend and extend the leg. So we're just going to get a little bit of movement here in the knee, you guys. Okay, couple more. Good. Next time you have that leg extended, hold and breathe. And so you're reaching your toes toward your shin. You're breathing in and out. The muscles here, your quadriceps muscles, those are the muscles in the top part of your leg and the front of your thigh. Those are really working to keep your knee straight and to keep your leg lifted. Now you might be noticing that it's a little harder to catch a deep breath. You could lower your foot a little bit if that's the case. You might be feeling some shaking here in your leg or a little burning in your leg. That's all muscles working the way that they're supposed to work. One more breath in and out, and then we're going to take 3 breaths to lower that heel to the floor. 3 long, slow breaths. So that's 1, keep lowering down. 2, keep lowering down. 3, come all the way down. Great. Relax that leg. Give that thigh a little bit of a massage. We're going to go right into that left side, heel on the floor, toes squeezing and extending. So that's what I'm doing with my foot, is squeezing and extending the toes, breathing in and breathing out. Notice if the toes on this foot work a little differently than the ones on the other foot. And then we're going to point and flex the foot. And again, if this is too much, if you've got a hip or a knee issue or a back issue that's giving you some problem this morning, you can always just slide your heel and slide to your toe. Good. Keep the breath moving smoothly and evenly, and then start to circle at the ankle. Breathing in, breathing out. Nice. And reverse direction. I hear some nice noises out there for this too. And then heel comes down to the floor. We're going to rotate this whole leg in and out. So this is like a big giant windshield wiper. Again, if I take my hand up here to where my leg comes into my hip, I can feel that turning of the femur, right? So we're getting some rotation there in that hip socket. Now some of us have a lot of flexibility in the ankle, so could potentially do this without even moving the whole leg. So that's why I like to just check and make sure I'm actually using my whole leg. Next time your foot comes up to that 12 o'clock position, right in that straight up position, extend out. So you want to have that knee as straight as it can get. Take your hands alongside right here and pull your belly in a little bit. And we're going to bend and extend. Breathe in and out. Good. So it's like you could touch your heel to the bottom of the chair. And the next time you extend, we're going to hold here. Nice strong muscles here, quadriceps muscles nice and strong. Toes are reaching toward your shin, breathing in and breathing out. Notice if you're trying to hold your leg up with your shoulders or your jaw. That's another subtle way we do it. We kind of clench the muscles around the jaw. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice if you're stronger on this side or if there's more potential for strength on this side. And now let's take 3 breaths to slowly lower that leg down. So 1 breath, lower down a little bit. 2 breaths, lower down another little bit. 3 breaths, go all the way down. Great. Bend that leg, or that knee rather. Give that leg a little bit of a massage. All right. So bringing your feet a little closer together. And get your heels behind your knees slightly. So what I mean is if I'm sitting here, I have my heels underneath my knees. I'm asking you to just bring your heels a little bit behind your knees. And we're going to lift onto the toes and then lower down onto the heels and see if you can lift your toes up a little bit. Then lift up onto the toes, lower onto your heels and lift your toes up off the floor a little bit. Right? Got that? So we're just going forward and back. Lifting up onto the heels and then seeing if we can lift the toes up a little bit. Good. All right, one more time, up and down. Great. Oh, so her hands are instructing her feet because that's what she's doing. That's a good idea, yeah. All right. So now what we're going to do is bring the feet out just a little bit. Hands on your thighs. Look down at your feet. So socks or shoes on, you won't get as good a visual, but you will get some visual here. Oh, I see what my problem is. Excuse me. All right. Okay. So now, if you can kind of lift up your toes and spread your toes wide. Can't do it. Okay. Do the best you can. So spread your toes nice and wide. Now, if you don't have socks on, notice if you can see some space between your toes. If you do have socks or shoes on, see if you can feel the space between your toes, right? And breathe. Are you all breathing? Okay. So let's lower the toes down. And now keep all of the little toes on the floor and raise just your big toes. And then lower them down. Keep all of your little toes on the floor. Raise just your big toes. You see what's coming. And lower down. So look at your feet, even if they're in shoes. Sometimes just looking in that direction actually directs your attention there, directs your awareness there. So for us visual people, we're looking down and we're saying, okay, yep, I think I got it now. All right. And then lower down. Okay. So was that fairly easy? How many people found that to be fairly easy? How many found that to be relatively difficult? Yeah. Okay. So good. They don't like each other? Oh, they do like each other. Oh, the toes like each other. Right. They want to move all together. I got it. Okay. So now we're going to keep the big toes on the floor, right? And lift all the little toes up and then down. So just the big toes on the floor and lift all the little toes. So do that several times. So again, if you're in shoes, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to have to kind of imagine this a little bit, and you're going to be limited by, how tall the toe box is in your shoes to allow you to do that. Make sure you're breathing smoothly. Yeah. Okay. And then lower the toes down. All right. How many found that to be relatively easy? Relatively difficult. Yeah, right? Isn't that so interesting, right? I've never had consensus. I've been teaching yoga for almost 20 years. I've never had consensus on things like this. There's always some people find it difficult, some people find it easy. Okay, so let's do something that we're all going to find really easy, which is to lift up all your toes. Got them all lifted? And lower them all down. Lift them all up and lower them all down. Lift them all up and hold them there. Okay, this is the easy part. Press just your big toes down. Press your little toes down, but not the middle toes. This isn't easy? Yeah. Lift them all up. Give them a little wiggle. Let's try that again. So lift all your toes up. Spread them out a little bit. So the balls of your feet are on the floor, right? So you don't want to be up on your heels like this. You want to have the balls of your feet on the floor. I think I need to address all of the different ways we can cheat on this, right? So lift all your toes up, spread them out. Press just your big toes down so all the other ones are lifted. Keep the big toes pressed down and press your little toes down. Keep all those middle ones lifted. And breathe. And then lift everybody up. Wiggle them around a little bit. Let's try that one more time. Lift them all up. Breathe, because now you know what's coming. So your breath is already being caught right here in your throat, right? Your jaw is already clenching. You're gripping your knees. I can see the white knuckles on your knees already. So we're looking at the toes. Spread them out. Big toes down. Baby toes down. All the ones in the middle are lifted. And breathe. And relax all that, right? All right. Let's come up on the toes and down onto the heels. We'll just kind of go back and forth a little bit. Oh, I had surgery on my toes. I did. Yeah, that's why I can do that. So how many found that to be difficult? Yeah, impossible. Okay. It's they all go together. You know why they all go together? Because we train them to do that. Because we put them in shoes all the time, right? Shoes make sure our toes work as a unit. When we walk barefoot or when we do these exercises barefoot, we can retrain our toes. Now, there are certain limitations, right? So let me just say that. Some people have a hammer toe. That's going to create a little bit more of a challenge for that. Some people have a bunion. That can create a little bit of a problem with that. But the bigger issue here is to try and get a little more independence in the toes so that they can move that way. Because when your toes move independently like that, the muscles in your feet, the bones in your feet are able to flex and move the way that they're supposed to. That helps with your balance, which is huge, right? To be able to balance well. That helps with your mobility as well. So the more you can kind of move around without shoes, and I say this understanding that there might be some concerns about balance, about being able to navigate comfortably and safely without shoes on. If you don't feel like you can navigate, walking around that way, sit down and do these kinds of exercises because, you're not going to have a balance issue if you're sitting down, but you're going to gain some independence in your toes and some flexibility in your toes. Sound good? All right. So keep those shoes off. We have great shoes. We have great technology. Like sneakers now have like 17 layers of cushion and all of this arch support and all of that, and it's great, but it takes away our feet. It takes away the ability of our feet to actually do what they're supposed to do, which is to have good strong arches, to have good mobility. So it's kind of a balance. We got to kind of strike that balance. All right, so let's do this. Let's do a little bit of movement for the spine. You all are familiar with the 6 movements of the spine, right? Yeah, we got this. Okay, so we did a lot of neck mobility in the beginning. Now we're going to take that and bring it into the rest of the spine. If you bring your feet a little wider than your hips, be right up close to the front edge of your chair. Have your hands on your thighs. And we're going to do this one with the back, rounding the back, but in a really mindful way. So we're going to start by bringing the chin to the chest. So we just did that one earlier. And then we're going to bring the forehead down toward the floor. Right? So you could just kind of round forward. Now, if you have your hands on your legs, we're going to use the hands and the arm muscles to actually help push us up. So with your next breath in, you're going to push into your hands and straighten your spine. As you come up, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Slide your hands back on your thighs, right? So we're really opening through the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. And then we're going to slide the hands forward, and we're just going to round through the spine. Chin to chest, nose to navel, forehead to floor. Press into your hands, come all the way up Squeeze the shoulder blades together, slide the hands back. So that's the movement. This is forward movement, forward bending, which is flexion, and backward bending, which is extension. Now we're really good at flexion, you guys. We do very well in this forward bending movement, the little shrimp movement. We are not so good in extension. We've forgotten how to do that. So a couple more. Good. And the last one, we're going to finish in extension. So that means with the shoulder blades drawn together and the chest forward, we're going to finish in extension and then come back to a neutral spine. So when we think about what is our normal position, I'm going to turn sideways. Here I am. This is how I sit, right? This is flexion. So my body is used to being in flexion. I am not used to being in this extended position, so I have to work at it a little bit more. So when you're doing this exercise at home, because I know you all do every day, like at least twice a day. So when you're doing this at home, think about creating more time in this extended position than in the flexed position. So taking this idea of flexion and extension forward and backward, go from side to side. These are two more essential movements for your spine because your spine is three-dimensional, right? And the blood vessels and nerves that come out and innervate your whole body from your brain, they come out in different locations, and a lot of them come out through the sides of the spine, so it's important to get that mobile as well. So sitting up nice and tall, having your shoulders above your hips, we're going to start with the right ear toward the right shoulder. So cervical spine is in extension on the left and flexion on the right, and then we're going to bring the head down toward the floor. Keep bending, 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 like you're creating a big arc in your spine. Try not to let your left cheek come up off that chair, and then we're going to come all the way up. Good. Take your left ear to your left shoulder down toward your left hip, and then your head down toward the floor. And try not to let your right hip come off the chair, and come all the way up. So we're just going to do this from side to side. Now go slowly, because again, there's a couple things. I want to make sure you don't feel dizzy or lightheaded. And sometimes when you bring your head in these positions, if you don't get into these positions on a regular basis, you might just not feel real good about it. If that's the case, if you're feeling a little lightheaded, instead of bringing your ear to your shoulder, just keep your head level and go over to one side so that you feel more of a stretch through the side of the waist or the ribs or that side of the body. Okay, everybody's doing great. I'm going to add one more little level of complexity here. The next time we're all over on the right side, so whenever you get there, I'm going to ask you to hold here and then take your left arm, see if you can sweep it up and down. We're going to do this 3 times. So that's 1, sweep it up, that's 2, and that's 3. And then we're going to come all the way up, place that hand on the left thigh, let's go over to the left side. Same thing, we're going to hold here, bring that right arm up and down, and breathe. Great. And last time, we're going to breathe all the way up and all the way down, and then come all the way up. Great. Roll the shoulders forward, up, back, and down a couple of times, and then let your shoulders settle right above your hips. Close your eyes, relax your jaw, your neck, your face. Relax your hands and fingers. Turn your attention to your breath. Noticing the way the air is moving in and out of your body. So you don't have to change anything right now. We're just noticing how the natural breath is. And notice if it's easier to breathe in and out through your nose than it was when you first sat down, when we first started doing the breathing practice at the beginning. Notice if that's changed a little bit. As you breathe in and out, see if you can draw air all the way down into your belly. So when you inhale, your belly expands like a balloon. And when you exhale, feel that balloon slowly deflate. That balloon in your belly, that is. So we're breathing in and the balloon inflates in the belly, and we're breathing out and the balloon in the belly deflates. As you're breathing in and out, as your body expands and contracts with every breath, notice your thoughts. Notice the quality of your thoughts. Are there a lot of thoughts or just one or two? Are the thoughts dark, maybe a little negative, or are they lighter and more positive? Or are they more neutral? So you're watching your breath, you're watching your body, you're watching your thoughts, all at the same time. As you continue to breathe, take your hands to your heart center, so right up at the top of your chest. And as you inhale, see if you can breathe all the way up into the space underneath your hands so that you feel your hands rising under your chest. And as you exhale, see if you can breathe out from that space as well so that you can feel that gentle contraction right under your hands. So we're going to do that several times, breathing into the space underneath your hands and breathing out from the space underneath your hands. The next time that you inhale, hold your breath just for a moment and then let it out with a sigh. Breathing naturally. Now take your palms together, and if that feels okay, just take a moment and just come into this place of gratitude to yourself for your light, your wisdom, compassion, and beauty, for your braveness in trying something new. It's always challenging to try something new. It's easier to stay with what we know. And then if it feels comfortable, you might want to just open your eyes and just acknowledge all these wonderful people here with you. And for those at home. Yep. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so have a great rest of your day, you guys. Yeah. All right. Yes. And I'll see you all next week.